Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quarantine Catechesis. I'm Father Joe Krupp, and you're not. And as the room is filling up, just a couple quick notes. First of all, if you're watching this and it's not 12 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesday, or what is this, Thursday? Thursday. Then you're not watching live, just so you know. That's really important to know. And as you can see, I think everyone's, did you see our new graphic?
I love it.
I do too.
I love
Oh
it.
my gosh. Guest Who is now the new theme for our Thursday afternoon sessions, where we bring on different people and discuss all kinds of hopefully helpful, inspirational, wonderful things. Now, before we dive into who this angel on my right is, although to you guys, I think it looks like you're on my, I don't know. Can you tell she's on my right? I can't tell. Yeah? They can? Okay. Yeah, Montrose Public School, right here. For those of you who are wondering, who is this angel at your right? A, she's my guardian angel. B, it's none of your business. But we will talk about that in a moment. First, however, I want to point out that tomorrow, do you know where our live show is going to be? Beck, do you know?
I think I should know.
Not Quality Dairy. I always say that because I lived in Lansing for so long. Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
Yes, because my belly is actually, I don't know if you know this, my stomach is a corporate sponsor of Quality Dairy. And yeah,
Dairy Queen.
And Dairy Queen. And here's the key. My belly is not only a corporate sponsor of Dairy Queen, it's the largest corporate sponsor of Dairy Queen. Oh my gosh. So
that'll be fun.
yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Gonna be fun.
And I'm telling you what, peanut butter, chocolate, and Oreos combined into a flurry is basically proof that our Father loves us. So you can't just do this pell-mell. It's got to be vanilla ice cream, some form of peanut butter, and some form of chocolate. Not peanut butter ice cream, not chocolate ice cream.
I thought you were talking chocolate ice cream.
It can work. But the better is vanilla ice cream.
With chocolate pieces.
With chocolate, yeah, chunks
Chocolate
or goo.
pieces.
I'll take goo, squeezy goo.
Okay.
And even with peanut butter, I'll take crunchy peanut butter and slap it in the blender. Yeah. And then you throw the Oreos in there, the vanilla ice cream, and then the squeezy chocolate, which I assume is not actually chocolate.
Probably not.
I would assume that whatever that is doesn't exist in nature.
Probably not, but you take your ice cream seriously.
Oh, yes. And I know
serious.
there are people who are like, hey, let's get ice cream. I'm like, be committed.
Seriously committed. You are committed.
I am committed. I need to be committed.
Father Joe, I'm getting ice cream overnighted to me today. Seriously.
Do you see why I love this woman?
Overnighted from Clemson, South Carolina. My husband ordered it online. It arrives today.
Now tell me of this ice cream.
So they make it at the school where my daughter goes. They have the 50, it's called the 55 exchange. And because of the pandemic, no one's in buying ice cream. So to support the nonprofit 55 exchange, we ordered ice cream. You know what?
Do you ever think of yourself?
No. If it comes melted, it comes melted. But we're supporting the kids.
My God. And getting ice cream.
And getting ice cream today.
Right. And in the words of Scripture, forget about the kids. There's ice cream
There's
involved.
ice cream coming.
Yeah. That's the gospel of chapter 7. But so let's stop now and just let me introduce this marvelous woman. Okay, I was assigned here 2 years ago, and one of the first things, of course, as a pastor, you have to look at the finances to figure out how deep are you in trouble, right? Yep. And that's kind of funny and kind of cynical all at the same time. But the other thing you want is this. Like in most parishes, I'm finding priests are moving away from parish councils just because you don't have time. Right? Yeah. But the thing church law says, you can't not have a finance council. Okay. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Church law says I don't have to have any councils or committees except finance.
That's smart.
That's very smart. And when I got there, and I have to say, one of the most impressive finance councils I've encountered, and that's saying something. I've encountered a bad one yet, to be honest. But there's Becky, who's like my North Star on that finance council, and I'm so grateful to the Lord for her. So if you would, can you take a moment and introduce yourself? Say as much or as little as you want, but make sure and focus on the ice cream.
Okay.
Yes.
So my name is Becky Millsap, and I live in Grand Blanc. I've been a parishioner for 17 years. And
So she joined when she was 5.
Yep. And I actually became Catholic through RCIA in 1998 before I married my husband. We went through it together. It was beautiful.
Oh, that's
Both
awesome.
got First Communion. I got confirmation, the
Cool.
Easter Vigil. So Easter Vigil's dear to my
yeah.
heart. I have 2 children, one in college and one in high school, and a wonderful husband who I hope finds time to watch this today. And we love ice cream.
Oh, yes. and Becky, there was something. Oh, so you came into the church in 98. That's the year I was ordained.
Yes, we
So we're
kind of have the
Sacramento
same
buddies.
anniversaries.
Yep,
right?
we are Sacramento buddies.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's 1998.
And some of you who are, what do you call this, typing, may recognize Scott Millsap, who occasionally comments.
Daily.
And it's usually foul. Usually a lot of cursing. That's her beloved. That's not true. He is a beautiful man. This is his beloved, right? Now, one of the reasons we brought Becky on here is because she's a goddess, and it always helps to have a goddess on the show. Small G, right? We're not pantheists. Okay. Okay. One of the other reason is this: there has been a ton of discussions that the AP ran an article, and the headline was, in my opinion, and I'm learning not everybody shares this opinion. Holy cow. Very misleading. It literally made it sound like the Catholic Church went and snagged a couple $2 billion from the federal government, and now the article broke it down a little better, and there was actually a wonderful, I should remember the name, darn it, but there was someone who posted on my Facebook and disagreed with my interpretation of the data, did so in such a reasonable way. Truly, thank you, whoever you were, for not just swinging for the fences, but Father, here's where I think you're wrong, A, B, C. It was well done. I don't agree totally, but he did open my eyes a little bit to, okay, maybe chill out a little, right?
Okay.
But that same weekend, 3 Catholic churches were vandalized so significantly that it actually made the national news. What I know as a pastor is churches get vandalized all the time. These were such significant attacks that it made the news. And what it's led to is some curious things. And this is what I was telling Beck before. Like, one of them is where people would say, well, you don't pay taxes, and there needs to be separation of church and state. And I'm like, right, that is the separation of church and state. We don't pay taxes on our collection, right? That's the definition of the separation of church and state. Right. But I think it's something where people don't understand, and even I, to be honest, I screw it up sometimes. I know I pay taxes. I'm taxed as a, and you know this is a murderous tax rate. It's a contracted as a self-employed contracted employee.
Yes.
Oh, so all I remember is during the first Clinton administration, my taxes went way up. When they changed it to that, I remember we all got a letter from the diocese. They're like, brace for your taxes this year. It's about to get real. And then side note, almost every priest, what was it? It was 40% of priests in our diocese got audited that year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was great.
Wow.
I didn't.
Wow.
Probably because of my beard. But all this to say,
we didn't have it then.
Can you just talk to us as a professional accountant, right? And where did you go to school?
Saginaw Valley.
Saginaw Valley. I thought I had you at MSU.
No. Well, we're the same age.
Oh, you didn't go to MSU?
No.
But you love MSU.
Oh, of course. That's where Jesus went to school.
You know, I had never thought that before, but now that you say it, it strikes me.
Original thought.
So, what's that?
Original thought.
That's it's actually what they call inspiration by the Holy Spirit.
Right.
But could you talk to us? What does it mean when people say Catholic churches don't pay taxes? What about that statement's correct? And what about that statement's not correct?
So,
are you comfortable with that question?
I can answer that question.
Rock it.
So what is correct is that there is not a net income tax that Catholic churches pay.
And tell me what a net
So,
income.
like, let's compare it to, like, so you said we don't pay taxes on our collections.
Right.
That's true. That's your gross income. Then you
Okay.
take all of your expenses out. Like, for example, business would take their gross sales minus all of their expenses. The net that's left, businesses pay tax on that.
The money you take in versus the money
Money.
you spend to function.
That's right.
Is your
Net income.
Got
And
it.
businesses pay tax on that net.
Yes.
I can tell you that a majority of nonprofits, even if they were considered a taxed entity,
Yeah.
they don't have that margin at the end. They're barely getting by.
Right.
So people can say, well, they don't pay taxes. It's true, they don't pay income taxes, but even if they did, I bet you they had hardly any they would be paying.
Sure.
And it's because it's what their mission is.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm going to be a nonprofit. You have to actually apply to be a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And the government has to say, we approve you as a nonprofit. So there's a criteria you have to meet. Education, hospitals, churches, giving back to the poor, feeding the hungry. Those things are all going to fall into nonprofit.
Okay.
So they don't pay income tax. However, there are taxes you pay. And you know this. So
I sign the checks.
every employee who works here gets a paycheck, just like I do, working for a company. They're responsible for payroll taxes, Social Security, and Medicare taxes. The church pays those taxes, pays the employer share of those taxes. So taxes are paid.
Yeah.
It's not that they're not. And that's true with any nonprofit that has an employee
Yeah.
working for them.
Okay. Like I was just, when you said it, maybe a good example. This is actually true, real numbers. One of the parishes I was assigned to, we started off in severe financial trouble. We owed more than we would make in 5 years of collections if we didn't spend any money, right? A little bit of a mismanagement action. And when I say little bit, I mean a lot. Yeah. So we plugged away, and we had to do a tremendous amount of repairs, blah, blah, blah. My last year, so we got rid of the debt, we got the rebuilding done, and then my last year, it was so funny, was our first year where we didn't have monster debt hang up. We were free of debt. All repairs were done. We were caught up, and we put $500, I could tell you the number, $520 we had left over at the end of the year.
Oh.
We threw a party. Seriously. So if we were taxed like everyone else, the government would gain the tax for $525 that year.
Yes, that's correct. Right.
And everything else they got from us, right?
Yeah. So maybe $100 in tax.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, we could have made a difference. That $100 would have bought some employee beer.
Yep, probably.
Some
employee, I don't know
Yeah.
who.
Okay, so when people say Catholic churches don't pay taxes, perhaps an easy way to explain it to people is, well, we don't pay taxes on our net.
Correct. That's right. And it's not just Catholic churches.
Oh, sure, nonprofits.
I would say churches and nonprofits in general.
Yeah.
You don't pay tax on that net. So yeah, collections, you're not paying tax on those collections.
Sure.
It's true.
Okay, that's really helpful. Do you mind talking to us perhaps about some of what would qualify? Like if I decided to start a church of, let's just pick a random name, Carrie.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you and I started a Church of Carrie of Grand Blanc. Let's just pick a random city,
Okay.
right? And the Church of Carrie of Grand Blanc, and now we're going to have worship services.
Okay.
And beyond that, our mission is simply to be the Church of Carrie of Grand Blanc. Can we go get a license now?
You can certainly go and apply for a nonprofit status.
And how would we do that?
So if you are a church organized, like we have a doctrine of law to follow. Let's say the Church of Carrie does not. Let's say it's non-denominational and the Church of Carrie is just going to be whatever Church of Carrie decides.
Right.
So there's an application for that.
Okay.
Where you're kind of you have to explain to the IRS what your mission is in that case. Now, if you are a Catholic church, you have a doctrine to follow, you have rules already in place, you have a governing body, you don't necessarily have to even apply in that kind of an instance. But or let's say you're just going to start a nonprofit on your own. You want to go start a nonprofit. You can do that. There are parameters you need to follow. You need to do a budget. You got to give the IRS your 3-year budget. You can't just say, okay, I want to be a nonprofit, and have them give you nonprofit status, and you go make $1 million.
Right.
There's got to be a reason why, and how are you going to help the community?
Okay.
What's your give back?
Okay. And is there anything else pertinent to this? Well, now let's move, if we may, to the PPP loan.
Yes.
And on one level, I want to be clear. The PPP that's not a short acronym.
Payroll protection.
It's paycheck protection program.
Right, but they should have picked another one. Right? Like PPP. It just why not P3? Right? This is the P3 loan. Bow, 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 and some kind of hit. Anyway, we can perhaps focus on these key issues later. I am seeing a lot of frowny faces. We have frowny faces.
Really?
Yeah, I can see I think. So maybe it's everybody trying to stick it to the man.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe that's it.
I understand.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I want to join my new congregation.
They want to join
the Church
this.
of Carrie.
The Church of Carrie. Yeah, basically the tenants of the Church of Carrie will be Carrie-ness, right? So
Marius.
see, Carrie-ness and Marias.
Yeah.
And Carrie-esque would be like C for collections. We need to take out collections.
Yes. Okay.
The A would be for another collection. Right?
I'm feeling it's going to need it.
Yeah, would be roided collections, like collections on steroids.
Yeah.
And then that's there twice. And then the I would be, I want more collections.
Okay.
And then the E would be excellent collections.
Excellent
Those are
collections.
the CARRIE. Those are the 6 tenets of
I'm not
Carrie-ism.
sure they'd get nonprofit status.
Dang
Because
it.
I don't see where the give back is going here.
Okay. So let's look at the P3.
P3. I like that. Let's call it that.
Let's do it. It's like WWW. Have you ever thought about this? It's actually shorter to say World Wide Web. It's less syllables. It is, right?
I never thought about
WW. Yeah, WWW. Why not just say World Wide Web?
You have a point.
Yeah.
You do.
Okay.
That's
Well, that's
good.
been a great show. I think I just peaked. It's like, do you know what the other one is? Microwaves. Pushing 100. Why not just push 60?
Right.
Okay. So now we've focused on that.
Is this what keeps you up at night?
This wakes me up. I'll be honest.
Okay.
Think of but at the same time, there's time-saving things that I hate, right? When people put the letter U instead of YOU, I get disproportionately angry. Isn't that weird?
No, I'm with you.
Where you are. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
My little brain is just like, no, do not do that. Do not do that. And in fact, a true story of one-letter things. When I was at MSU, where Jesus went to school, I just learned that. I got an email from a guy. I was going to do a wedding in Grand Rapids. And this is not an exaggeration. I actually called a student in to read the email. It was filled with all of these words that aren't words. Like, I'm going to shave 5 seconds off my life by not typing YOU. It was filled with the you are and all this, and I couldn't read it. And I brought a student in because they're smart. And I'm like, can you read this? And she could not.
Oh.
And I said, so what is the polite way your generation, this is what I asked her truly, would send back an email and say, please send me an email like an adult, right? And so she said, so she helped me, right? And it was basically a sweet letter. It was just, hey, I couldn't read that. Can you rewrite it? And I forget what phrase, but she was very sweet and it worked. And the next email was the same. And so I thought, I kind of can't wait for this wedding to meet this 22-year-old kid, right? And find out what he was talking about. Because I'm sure it was important to the wedding. This is a true story. So I drive out to Grand Rapids for the wedding. This is me driving.
Okay.
And I get there, and it's like a man in his 60s with a ponytail and earrings. And I'm like, I think we found the problem.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this was a man in his 60s.
Oh, jeez.
With a ponytail, and he was wearing the shirts like when a lot of weed got smoked, I think, is, what do you call it? Tie-dyed.
Oh.
I'm gonna go for that look just for you.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, I'm sorry.
PPP.
Okay.
P3.
Thank
The
you.
P3.
P3 on the World Wide Web. You can check it out yourself.
Yep. So
Talk to us
I'll
about
tell you
that.
about that loan.
Please.
So it starts out as a loan.
Okay.
And any company and a nonprofit with less than 500 employees could apply for this loan.
Okay.
The purpose of it is Paycheck Protection Program. It's to protect paychecks. It's to give companies and nonprofit agencies and churches money to meet payroll. And there's a formula for it. You didn't just go out and grab a number out of the air. It was based on your payroll from last year, your average payroll. And the goal was to give you 8 weeks of payroll.
Nice.
Help you get through 8 weeks of the pandemic and keep your people on payroll.
Yes.
Don't send them to the unemployment system that was already overrun.
Yeah.
I mean, we got calls from people all the time. They couldn't get through.
Yeah.
I can't help them. All you can do is continue to try to get through.
Yes.
So this gave the church money to help pay people. So we're still paying payroll taxes.
Yep.
They're still able to get their net regular check. We still had teachers, Father
Yeah.
Joe, that had to work. And just imagine, we have no money coming in because no one's coming to church. We have no collections. And we still have to pay people.
Right.
We don't have a big enough margin, nor do many churches and nonprofits, to fill that gap.
Yes.
Right? And to continue to be able to do that. This was for small businesses. A lot of businesses applied.
Yes.
You can look them up and you
Oh,
can see
yeah.
a lot of businesses got this money. Most people probably don't know that their business applied and got the money.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Your employer's not going to say, we kept you on payroll and we didn't send you on unemployment because we got government money to do it.
Right.
They just went ahead and got it, and that's how they've survived.
And it's one thing someone pointed out to me that I think it might not be clear. It's a loan, right?
So it's a loan initially.
Okay.
You can ask for forgiveness. But when you got the
We're
loan,
good at that.
you had to certify that you were economically impacted by COVID.
Okay.
You had to
Yeah, we
certify that you will use the funds for payroll, rent, utilities, health insurance, retirement benefits, things to benefit your employees. And now it's been changed, and now 60% of it has to be used for payroll.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So you can apply for forgiveness.
Okay.
But you had to certify those things even when you got the money. It wasn't just here's a loan.
Yeah, I signed a ton of stuff.
Yes,
I remember that.
You had to commit that it was being used
Yeah.
as it was intended.
Well, and I think you were a part of it with Kevin. Kevin's our business manager and my lovely research assistant, who it was a tremendous amount of paperwork, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of, like, it was, if I remember right, 2 years of our budget we had to submit. Was it 2 or 1?
It was 18 months trend.
Okay, 18-month trend. Yeah, that it wasn't just, hey, we want some cheese and here's a check.
Correct.
And it did crack me up because it was a check that we get in chunks, but it is funny, they had it down to the cent.
They do, yes,
And it's
exactly.
hysterical because, frankly, it's a sizable number. We employ a whole school worth of teachers and maintenance and it was like, all these digits and then 14 cents.
Yes.
I'm like, that's your tax dollars at work.
And to ask for forgiveness, you're going to have to submit more documentation on where it was sent.
Catholics can do forms and we can do forgiveness.
Yeah.
We excel.
Yeah.
This is the world's oldest bureaucracy. Did you know that? The Catholic Church? It's the world's, I think, oldest, longest running bureaucracy. And if you don't know Latin, that's your fault. So, now one of the other things that fascinated me was that there's still a ton of money left in this program.
Yeah, so far there's been over 5 million or almost 5 million loans given out so far.
Yeah, and again, I'm just going by what people seem to be worried or angry about. Well, the Catholic Church stole that money. I can't tell you how many people wrote that. My business didn't get it. Well, we didn't steal it, but there's a ton left. It's not like we drained it.
Right, they extended the time to apply.
Okay.
So businesses can still apply. You know, it was interesting, even a self-employed individual could apply. So a self-employed hairdresser could apply to get funds to get them through this pandemic because they were closed too.
Yeah.
So it's out there. People just need to apply, and maybe they just need some help.
Yeah.
bankers can help you with it. The bankers, it all ran through banks.
Well,
So you had banks and credit unions. So you had to work with a bank to get the application in.
okay.
And if you haven't gotten one and you're a small business, you need to contact your banker or a local bank.
Yeah, did you hear that, folks? So again, if you're a small business owner, even if you are, come Holy Spirit, self-employed,
Yeah.
you might want to pop by your bank and ask for help with a P3 loan. And call it that. And if they say, no, it's a PPP loan, then you say, I want nothing to do with you, and storm out.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that. Do it.
No, don't do it.
And can I ask, they extended the period too, in which like the number of
Yeah.
payrolls and that, because we just used the rest of ours for extending the payroll.
So when you got your loan, it was
Yes.
intended 2.5 times your average month payroll.
Right.
The idea was you were going to cover 8 weeks of payroll and then your rent and your utilities with the rest of it.
Yeah.
While we were finding that maybe the calculation wasn't so good, so people weren't using it all up, and they were going to basically either take as a loan the portion that can't be forgiven,
Yeah.
or send it back.
Okay.
So I mean that's fair.
Yeah, more
But
than fair.
you know what? The pandemic went on more than 8 weeks.
Sure did.
So the government extended the period on which you can use the funds to pay payroll to 24 weeks.
Oh, cool.
So now people are they're still paying people. They're still going to get it all
Yep.
paid out
Yep.
in payroll. I don't have any clients who aren't getting it paid out in payroll now.
Right.
Praise God. I know I have family who work in the church besides me, and they're in the same boat. That they would have lost their means to feed their family
Yes.
had this program not come through. And I think of, like, I made when I was 16, 15, 14 to 16, somewhere in there. I couldn't drive yet. Anyway, I went to my grandma and grandpa Krupp's house, and I had a tape recorder. And this is 84, 85. And I asked them questions about their life growing up. And, they talked about growing up in what's called Maple Grove, right? So
Yep.
where JV was from.
Yep.
And eating grass, picking dandelions, finding out you can boil bark, right? Literally,
Oh my
and get
gosh.
some sort of something out of it. All these different things they did because the economy collapsed. And, oddly enough, of course, growing food and selling it. But they made more money by selling it than they would have.
To eat it.
Yeah. It was astounding to hear these stories. And we avoided that so far.
That's right. It's not over.
no.
That's the sad thing is it's still not over, Father
Right.
Joe. We still have clients at businesses that haven't been able to open yet.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So, but getting that P3 loan
Yeah.
has really helped them to be able to survive at least this far. They didn't have to tap into their savings yet.
Right.
In the beginning when this was all brand new, they didn't have to lay off everybody.
Right.
They could still be doing some of their work, even though they didn't have any income coming in.
And one of the articles, I'm going to see, I saved it, that the article in the AP targeted a church in a few specific churches. Oh, but I'm on the wrong document. Stick with me. And the pastor of that, one of those churches, wrote an article because, getting vicious phone calls, getting threats of violence. And again, this whole thing of, I just can't get over the irony of it. Well, separation of church and state. This is what separation of, if we paid taxes on our net,
Yeah.
that would be joined with the state.
Right.
Right. And anyway, so one of the interesting things he had in there, and of course, you know what I did not, as it turns out, I did not put it in there. But he was saying in Rhode Island, where this pastor was, I believe it was Rhode Island, the Catholic Church is the second largest employer in the state. Right?
Wouldn't
And
surprise me.
yeah. So he says, think about that.
Yeah.
Right? Think about that.
Think about the impact
Right.
if those employees were all of a sudden unemployed.
Right?
One, the drain on that unemployment system in that state.
Yeah.
And two, the drain on. So we put all these people in unemployment. We don't pay them.
Yeah.
And now the nonprofits that kind of help in human services area
Yeah.
can't help them because they don't have any money coming in either.
Right.
So what does that do to those people? I mean, I think the PPP did what it was intended to do. Let's keep the economy going as much as we can during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And let's get money into those people's hands, because if everybody went on unemployment,
Yeah.
the system would break and
Yeah.
run out of money. And two, they're nonprofits. Okay, so if I'm unemployed, I'm not able to make my contribution
Right.
to Holy Family.
Give me
I'm
money.
not able to make my contribution to the food bank.
Right.
Who's going to feed the people if nobody can make these contributions? So getting people a paycheck was important.
Yeah.
It is so important.
Yesterday we were at Catholic Charities, and again, folks, thank you for how many of you responded by donating to them. How cool you are. One of the things we learned there was this, I'm going to mess up the name and you might know it. It's like a program from the government to assist people who can't pay rent. Is this ringing any bells?
HARA, H-A-R-A.
H-A-R-A or H1A2R1. I don't think it works. Yeah, let's just go with HARA. Okay, so HARA is a program, as I loosely understand it, that a lot of people can't pay rent, right? And they're going to be kicked out. So the government has this way of helping people pay their rent during this crisis. She was pointing out, and Nuge, I'm looking, make sure I get this right. Catholic Charities is the only one helping people with that loan right now in Genesee County. Right? So if you need help with rent through this program, you can go anywhere you want. No one can help you. But the Catholic Church, Catholic Charities of Genesee County can help you out. And I do want to throw that out there for any of our listeners, if I may, in Genesee County. She was adamant. Tell as many people as you can. She said, because there's all these dollars waiting to help people. And in the meantime, they're seeing more and more people creeping into homelessness and needing assistance. So if you're in Genesee County, or what's the other county they covered? Shiawassee. Please, if you're struggling with rent because of this COVID virus, please find them. They will help. They literally, she said this, we are waiting. Because what's happening is people are coming in crisis because they know the church will help.
Yeah.
But this is one where we can stop you from homelessness before it happens. Recovering from homelessness is much harder when you're homeless, right?
And it's federally funded. They have federal funds.
Yeah, it's federal funds.
Yeah.
You know, and the interesting thing that taps in, I think, and this, I don't know if this interests you guys or not, and I would assume you know about this, but like one of the things I experienced in working with Catholic Charities in Lenawee County was that if federal dollars are involved in anything they're doing, get this, they have to go into the room where the meeting is and take down any religious symbol.
Really?
Right? Oh, so when I would drive a guy to counseling at Lenawee County Catholic Charities, okay? Well, since he was a soldier, it was a federal program. So before he went into the office, they'd run through the office. They knew how to do it. They did it 10 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
And they'd take down the crucifixes, the pictures of Mary,
Wow.
anything that was vaguely religious, and they would put it outside the office.
Wow.
And then, of course, we're Catholic, so the second that guy was out, they put it back up. Right? You got it in there, awesome. You got to have Mama in there, right? You got to. And I can't tell you how many of the guys I took there would tell them, don't worry about it. They're like, this is the law.
Oh my gosh.
Right? That crosses a state church boundary in the ACL,
Wow.
or not ACLU. Well,
Yeah.
That's
Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court's mind, that crosses the line between church and state.
And they
Oh,
do that now at Catholic Charities?
And they do it there, right? That if it's a federal program and you come in for help, whatever office you meet in, they take down the religious stuff because that's the law. They're respectful of the law and obedient to the law. And it was funny. I was like, I would gripe, and they're like, no, this is how we can help, right? I could go on and on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Is there anything else you think people should know on this topic?
I do think
please.
people should know that part of the CARES Act, which is where the P3 was included in.
Okay, we say PPP just so you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm probably on you. I thought we changed it.
No, you're right. P3. It's a good
We
idea.
changed it to P3.
Whoever thought of that's a genius.
So something as part of that CARES Act, people think, well, when they make a charitable contribution, that they get a tax deduction. But it's only if you take the itemized deduction. Well, part of the CARES Act, up to $300, you can make a contribution and get a deduction against your taxes, Father Joe. Like people that don't take the itemized deduction, which is mortgage interest and property taxes and all that. If you file, or some people call it the short form, file the short form for 2020, up to $300, you're going to get a deduction for that charitable contribution.
Oh, wow.
So keep your receipt. You should get donation
Praise
receipts.
God.
So it's to help fund those nonprofits during this time. Nonprofits are not having their fundraisers, right? They're not able to have people gather. I just heard the Flint Auto Fair.
I know.
What's it called?
Back to the Bricks.
Back to the Bricks. They
That's a
just had to
bummer.
cancel that. They're not able to have their major fundraisers.
Yeah.
Just think if all the nonprofits, one, didn't get P3 money,
Right.
two, now can't have fundraisers, they'll go under. I
Yeah.
can't imagine a world without nonprofits helping those that are lesser than us, the least of these, right?
Right.
Who's going to help them if those nonprofits all go under? So I encourage people to still give. And you know what? If you don't even consider the tax ramification because you don't get a benefit, this year you're going to get a benefit.
Oh, how about that?
So
Wow.
you got to do it.
Yeah, and of course, as a priest, I can tell you, it's one of those things that the golden goose. Okay, this one priest in Hillsdale, Father David Riemschneider, who's one of my favorite humans. He is just a ridiculously beautiful priest, right? If you know Father David Riemschneider, well, how about this? Let's all agree. Can everyone listen to this? Promise to pray a Hail Mary for Father David Riemschneider today, okay? He served his country as a ranger, and he became an Anglican priest. He's married. He's got 2 squeakers, and then he became a Roman Catholic priest. And he serves the good people and the bad ones of St. Anthony's in Hillsdale, and all he does is hit home runs. I love him. But there was one big jump he was telling me about, and it's kind of the thing every priest wishes. If you could convince all the people who don't give, right, who at church, right, to give $5 a week, it would literally transform the budget. I know that sounds nuts, but think of this. At your church, statistically, 80% of the finances of the church come from 4% of the congregation. In a Catholic church, that's the average. Did you know that? 80% of a church's finances come from 4% of its people. Now, take that 76%. Did I do the good math? 4, 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And imagine if they all threw in.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to have 5 million fundraisers a year, right? Just
We
think
probably wouldn't
about
have needed
it.
P3.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have needed the PPP loan.
That's right.
It is P3. Why don't we all say that? Why can't we as a society? We would solve so many problems.
Becky is, but you keep correcting her.
I'm just doing it to be childish. Yeah, I'm just doing it to be childish. But I urge everyone here to pray every day and to say P3 instead of PPP. So hats off to Riemschneider because he pulled it off.
Yeah.
I don't know how the old man did. Well, he's not old. He's younger than me. And he could kill and eat me. The man is fierce, right? He is sweet. He's quiet. He's thoughtful. And he could probably kill and eat me. The man lifts 8 billion pounds a day.
Oh.
Like, yeah, he's just a beast.
He
And
doesn't have an ice cream belly.
No, I have his ice cream belly. Yeah, eat more belly. So this is all really interesting and helpful. And as a priest, I'm one of those guys, and there's 2 extremes in priesthood and everything in between when it comes to finances. There's the dictators, right, who just, this is what we're doing, right? And some of them have a lot of financial acumen, right? Then you've got the other end, which is, I'm vaguely aware we probably should write checks every once in a while. And I realized early in this game that I am so hopelessly outclassed in this world. There are things I'm very smart about, so I'm not downing me, right? I like me. If there were 2 of me, I'd be my friend. No, but I learned early on, listen to your finance counsel, right? Because you raised kids and are raising kids. You've done that thing where you bleed over the checkbook before you write the tuition check. You've done that thing where you write the check to the church and it's actually scary. For priests, for better or for worse, and I do think it's for worse, we're guaranteed income.
Yeah.
We're guaranteed pay. It ain't huge pay, right?
Yeah,
It's not.
right.
But if the economy crashes, like that was the thing that killed me and touched me, is I called the diocese when we looked before the P3 loan came out. We sat down and didn't. I knew you'll tell you. I just bawled. Yep. We have to lay off people.
Yeah.
We have to lay off people with families, right? And Kevin will tell you, I just cried. And I was like, well, lay me off. I'll still work. I'll volunteer.
Yeah.
No, we can't. The diocese, no, you can't do that.
Right.
And I raged because that's me. And I called and this is an injustice and blah, blah, blah. And then Lisa Kudus is so cool, okay? She called me and said, you don't have to take your pay. And she said, and I know that because a ton of priests aren't.
Oh.
Oh, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
She said, yeah, the church can't lay you off. And there's a lot of reasons in canon law for that, or concerning canon law. But she said, at the same time, she said, tons of priests had called me and said, do I have to take my pay? No. Right? Because we're the ones without
cool.
You know, I got family. I got, you know, my pa and my sisters and my brother. But, you know.
Yeah.
And so that did touch my heart. She was like, yeah, I've gotten I don't know how many she said, from priests who were like, do I have to take my pay? No. You could take it and then just give it back. And then we talked about that. And a finance council was like, well, wait.
Yep.
And then what happened? The P3 loan came in.
Through. Yeah.
And my gosh. And then what was cool is we were able to call these folks who are at home and say, do you want to work? Yeah. And, you know, one of the things, we're a cluttered parish, right? We got a ton of clutter in this church. And most of it is because everybody's busy, right? We can't hire all the people we need. Yep. We can only hire the people we can afford.
That's right.
And so these beautiful people came storming into the school, into the office, into the hall, and started cleaning clutter, right? And so they got the dignity of a hard day work and a paycheck.
And a paycheck.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes a village. It takes everybody doing their...
If that's my wife, I'm not here.
No.
I see what it is. And I don't know what that means.
I don't know who
freaks
she
me out.
is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who she is.
Can I say what name popped up?
Birds beware.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting my windows cleaned in a little bit.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what lifestyle you're living when I'm not around, but it's freaking me out.
It's birds beware because they can't tell the windows are a window because
Okay.
they smack into them.
Becky hates God's creation.
No, I hate dirty windows.
There we go. With little bird corpses. With little bird corpses.
Corpses all over them.
Do you have a cat?
No.
You do have a dog.
We have a dog. He's our baby.
Oh, boo-boo.
He likes Father Joe. He watches Father Joe on Sunday morning.
Sometimes when I get out of the pool, I shake my head in slow motion and let my hair...
Oh, my gosh. I thought I had to come early for makeup.
Yeah.
But I think this is natural.
Yeah. Oh, this, believe it or not, this is God-given.
Oh.
I know. I hear it all the time from no one.
It's the moneymaker.
It's the moneymaker.
The moneymaker.
Now, I was going to share some things about Vatican finance, but I thought instead, is there anything more you would think we should know?
I think...
Kara, are you seeing any questions?
There are some questions, but I love the Vatican.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah.
So maybe if you don't mind...
Church of Cary?
Is it Church of Cary?
Yeah, Church of Cary saying, let's talk about Vatican.
Right. Okay. The Church of Cary has spoken, and as a card-carrying, loyal, submissive servant... wait, we should kind of talk about it cultishly. Like my eyes should be really wide open. The Church of Cary has asked that I provide the...
I'm not helping her apply for that nonprofit.
Oh, no. Because
the Church of Cary.
Yeah.
That's going nowhere.
Because she'll be about the prophet.
Yeah.
That's why she works in the church, the huge money and the abject power. Yeah.
Carrie, we might need to get you a new job.
Yeah. If Carrie leaves, I will either die the next day or the day of.
That's it.
Oh, no.
Your world will go dark when light bulb at a time.
It will, because a trained monkey can do my job.
All right.
She's actually irreplaceable.
No, too far. That's enough.
It's true.
No,
You're getting in trouble now.
Wait, the Church of Cary has asked that I not comment further.
There you go.
questions, Vatican, all kinds of
Okay, so
Okay.
One of the things, I'll never forget this. This is a true story from my time at MSU, where Jesus went to school. I was asked to guest lecture in the sociology department, okay? And I went in, and I was a half hour after class started, but I thought, I'm loser enough where I like school. So I thought, I'm going to go there on time and watch class. And this prof gets up to introduce me after he does his thing. And he says, a lot of you may not know this, but the Catholic Church is the wealthiest institution in the history of the world.
He's never been on finance council.
Right.
Right, Kevin?
And I can't believe how many people say this. Like, and even again on my Facebook, it's like, Catholic Church has billions of dollars. Yes, trillions just laying there, and we sleep on it at night. Yeah. So let's go through, right? And I did not use one religious source in collecting this data, not one, right? I used money.com, I used CNN, and even Wikipedia, right? So let's go through. What is the annual operating budget for the Vatican? About 350 million.
Okay.
Okay, 350 million. Well, that's the annual operating budget of the Vatican. Okay, the annual operating budget for the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor is 1.2 billion.
Wow.
Just to give you a sense of things.
Yeah.
So literally, there are 5 endowments at the University of Michigan that are larger than the annual operating budget of the Vatican.
Wow.
Did you know that? Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
Yeah.
Now, when you hear these, and this was from Money Magazine, they said the most insane thing. They said, when you see these things that say the church has billions, what they're doing is taking every Catholic church that exists, 1.1 billion Catholics in the world, right? And they take any money that they have that day, and they say, that's how money the church in Rome has. Well, Notre Dame, for example, the University of Notre Dame, which I heard might be Catholic, occasionally, they have $1 billion endowment. So that counts, right?
Oh.
So the people say, oh, the church has billions of dollars. They're counting Notre Dame's $1 billion endowment that nobody can touch but 7 people at Notre Dame or whoever's on their council.
And you usually don't get to touch the endowment.
You
You get the
cannot.
earnings from the endowment, but the
Right.
endowment stays.
And-
So it's not like
Exactly.
we can tap into it and spend it.
Exactly.
And that one goes to strictly, their largest endowment is strictly tuition assistance.
Yeah, that's all it is. That endowment, for example, the $1 billion one, is to help reduce the cost of tuition, which I believe is $1 trillion a year now.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the 8 people that get in,
Yes.
it really is a fine university,
It
all
is,
kidding aside.
yes.
And their cost of education is expensive. But that endowment, whatever, anyway, blah, blah, blah. The annual operating budget for the Vatican is about 350 million. Now, that is a deficit of 27.9 million that they had last year.
Oh.
Okay? One of the things you have to understand is that the finances in the Vatican have been scary corrupt for quite some time. And how does that corruption play out? Well, until about 1944, the church had outside people run their money, right?
Oh.
It was the smart move, right? Don't have a priest balance the checkbook. Have this banker over here do it, or this stock portfolio do it, or blah, blah, blah. Well, what did they find? Surprise, people were stealing money like crazy. And then to help cover up their theft from the church, they brought employees in the church into it. So you ended up with priests and cardinals and bishops who were kind of in on it, right? Pope Benedict, if I may put it this way, started the war. And Pope Francis is continuing the war of, we have to clean this disaster up. Right? So what you'll never hear me say is that it's not corrupt. Sweet Lord. They specialize in corruption. It's a 2,000-year-old institution with roots in European banking that's older than the church. Isn't that astounding? So please make no mistake, you'll never hear me say there isn't a lot messed up about it. But to be clear, 350 million. That's what they're playing with. And what does that do? 89% of it goes to their employees. Okay? And how many employees do they have? They have, give me a second. There it is, 4,822. Okay? There are 4,822 employees of the Vatican, which is an 11-acre country. And I believe the last sole monarchy in the world. I believe. Okay? How do they get money? Okay? Printing. They sell a ton of books.
Oh, they're not printing money.
No, that would be this administration. Yeah,
Sounded
that
kind
would
of like
be,
it.
Yeah, that'd be Trump and Obama just printing money like it's. I said that out loud, didn't I?
You
Sorry.
sure did.
Okay. My dad always says that when this triple P or P3 came out, Dad said, "You know they're just printing money like crazy. We're so." And every time they do this, he literally, Dad, beautiful Gordon Crump, we're so screwed. Our grandkids are screwed. Everything's screwed. I know, Dad. So, come Holy Spirit, what are we talking about? Here's how they make it. Printing, publication of coins, production of coins. In fact, Nuge, would you be comfortable on the shelf with the bobblehead Francis?
Yep.
You should see a number of coins. Would you mind grabbing one, brother? Whichever one you think is appealing. Okay? Production of coins, and when we say coins, we don't mean coin. Oh, I should look over there. Thank you. We don't mean production of coins like quarters and dimes and nickels. They mean like commemorative coins. Europeans are gooey about this stuff. So I kid you not, this was personally given to me by St. John Paul II in 1994. Right, and it's got his melon on it, and then on the back is Our Lady of Czestochowa. Okay, so they make these and they sell them. Unless you get a private audience with Pope John Paul, then you just get one. You're welcome. Medals, religious medals, right? So last time I was at the Vatican was when I was pastor at Sacred Heart, St. Mary, and St. Joe's. So I bought 305 medals so I could give one to every kid, right? It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was worth it, and that's part of the Vatican budget. Idiots like me buying medals, religious medals. Postage stamps. I have some of those over there, too. Why? They have a post office, right? It's this country. It's an 11-acre country. It's hysterical. There's literally a post office. And they also, do you know about this? They have the little train. Do you guys know about this? During World War II, the Vatican was hiding a ton of Jews, right? A ton of Jews. And what they would do is they were digging under the Vatican to find places to put these people. I'm not kidding. And they also had a printing press where they were just forging baptismal certificates like crazy, right? They forged over 200,000 baptismal certificates, fake ones, right? Yeah. So anyway, but there's this little tunnel then that they thought, well, let's use this. And now there's a little train that delivers mail from one side of the Vatican City to the other. Isn't that a riot? And it looks like a toy train. I saw it, and I almost went, choo, choo. Anyway, okay. Mosaics. They sell sacred art. Staff uniforms, okay? They do sell, when they say staff uniforms, they also are talking about cassocks. So, not this cassock. This one I got, let me see. I've got 3 cassocks that I buy from the tent and awning supply. I'm just kidding. Oh, no, this one is from, okay, so see the thing on there?
Yep.
That's made in the Vatican.
Oh, Euro.
Right? Yep, Euro Claro. So they sell those types of things, although the last ones I bought were made in India. And they're cheaper and better.
And the buttons have been ordered.
And oh, your wife is a goddess. How else do they make money? This is where it gets, this is where the corruption comes. Ready? Quote, I love this phrase, worldwide banking and financial activities.
Slush. Just
slush
fund.
Slush.
Whatever.
That's where the corruption comes in.
It's the slush fund part.
Yeah, that's where the corruption comes in. That's where we get in trouble. Okay? So that feeds a labor and pays a labor force of 4,822 people, and they do that for about $350 million a year. Now, the deficit tends to be $27 million a year. that right in there, that they run a deficit budget. Where does the money come from? Back to, quote, banking and financial activities. That's where they make up the gap. The Vatican has property all over Italy, and they rent apartments just like anyone else, right? All this kind of stuff. What else? This one I thought might kind of blow you away, because, sweet Lord, this is amazing, okay? So, again, this is not disputable. The Catholic Church is the largest charitable organization in the history of the world, okay? But check this out. I'm going to read you some numbers, okay? Stick with me. I don't know how to make this bigger. Oh, I'm going to throw some numbers at you. Listen to this, okay? 37 hospitals. 5,375 dispensaries of medication, free medication dispensaries. 184 lazarets. What is that? Places for people with leprosy to go to. 184 houses for the elderly and chronically ill. 1,285 orphanages. 2,037 gardens for childhood, safe places for kids to go to play. 1,673 family counseling centers. 2,882 centers for sanity education, what we call insane asylums, I think. Okay? Excuse me if that's not the proper... Mental hospitals. Do we say mental hospitals? Okay, pardon me. 1,363 institutions of poor assistance, 67,848 maternal schools, 93,315 primary schools, 42,234 secondary schools. That's just Africa.
Wow.
That's just the Catholic Church in Africa.
Wow.
Okay? Those numbers you just heard, that's not the world. It's Africa. Right? The first that I know of, and I want to be cautious, I'm only speaking of my personal experience, when AIDS really blew up as in the public consciousness, the first AIDS housing I ever experienced was in Detroit by the Catholic Church, right? Where as a seminarian, we would go and be with these men as they died. Because it was a life sentence back then. You died. The first institutions to put women running them was the Catholic Church, right? Hospitals and schools. Before secular society figured out women can do these things, the church did. And we could go on and on and on. And what I don't want to do is pretend that the church hasn't done anything wrong. And I don't want to pretend that there isn't corruption. But we, in my opinion, get a bad shake. Because all the good we do is just considered part of the background music. And every time we drop the ball, that's headline. Mm-hmm. You take away our ability to exist in this country, and it's not an exaggeration to say people will die. People will die of exposure. People will die of hunger. People will die alone. People will... you could go on and on. Yeah. I say this often these days. There are reasons to be ashamed of our church. There are. And I can list them for you if you ever need help. But everybody's clear on those. I don't know how many people know, like what I just read you, for one country. Yeah. One country. And that's us. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know if I should have made the Facebook post. I definitely made it in anger about the Triple P loan. Mm-hmm. And I don't like posting things in anger. I don't know if you notice, I try to be careful. And every once in a while, I will get a little saucy and bang something out. And then 2 days later, it's like, please forgive me. But I think one of the things I heard back from Catholics that blew me away is they didn't know people hated us that much. Yeah. It helped them to read the comments and go, there are people who can't be reasoned with, right? So I don't know. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. And if I take it down, I take it down. But I spoke the truth.
Mm-hmm. You did speak the truth.
So, but just know this. Your parish functions because of people like Becky. Because if it's in my hands with the best of intentions, I'll kill it. I don't know how to care for it. I don't understand a lot of the terms you guys regularly use, and that's okay. I don't need to.
That's not your role.
Right. I have beautiful people like this. And I don't mean to talk like you're not here. It's just, but I thank Jesus every day for my finance counsel. because that, more than any other place in this parish, is where I go, I have no idea what I'm talking about. And so if you have financial acumen, you may want to look into your parish and say, can I help? And if the priest is a jerk and doesn't want your help because he knows everything, or if he actually is good at that stuff, okay. But just know this, if it's a priest like me, and there's a few of us at least, we need all the help we can get. And this is weird, but stick with me. I'm going to invite you to go to your parish website and look up your finance council members and write them a thank you. Because the only time they hear from God's people is when God's people are ticked. Right?
Sure.
Nobody just grabs Becky after Mass except me, and I'll cry doing it. Thank you for what you're doing. Nobody wants to go to meetings, right? Nobody is like, woohoo, finance. I don't have to stay home with the people I love most. I can go sit and stare at spreadsheets. So I'm asking you, as a personal favor to me, and as an expression of reality, to find out who's on your parish financial council and write them a letter or send them an email. No digs, no whatevers, just thank you. You don't know how many hours these beautiful people put in. And anyway, stop. So, will you please do that? I'm asking you. And will you all pray for Becky and her 2 wonderful kids and for her evil husband? Now, if you don't mind, before we close, can I point out that she should have went to MSU?
Yeah, you can point that out.
Okay.
Father Gary really wanted her over there too.
Yeah, it's what Jesus wanted.
It's
But
okay.
you guys did what you want.
You know, God put her where she's supposed to be. I know in my heart.
He did. And you know I know that. I
Yes,
just
I do.
reserve the right to pretend I
know.
don't. Yeah. And at least she didn't go to Ann Arbor.
I know, right?
What? Oops, should I not have said that? Wait, Church of Carrie, ready? I love Ann Arbor. It's really good. I wish we all went there. How was that? Be honest.
I just want you to behave.
Oh, I have to behave.
Well, that's a little late, Carrie.
Yeah, what the hey, woman? When did this? Is this in my contract?
No.
Okay, so what I'll do now is actually stop talking.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say a prayer. I'll give you a hayida, and then you will find who's on your finance council at church, and you will send them an email or even, God help you, a handwritten letter. And are people saying yes?
You know, Scott Millsap just came in and said, "What did I miss?"
Okay, Scott,
He's got
Scott,
watched
your
the
wife is
replay.
drunk, and we need you to come get her. She's cursed. She started a fist fight
he'll be
with
right here.
Nugent. Yeah.
He'll be right here.
Yeah, he's like, oh, is it Wednesday or Thursday? What day is
Thursday.
this? Thursday.
Yeah, he'll be right here. He always has to do that. He always
love
has to
that
pick
guy.
me up.
So, Scott, maybe you should come with me to Dairy Queen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did you hear me yesterday sing the Dairy Queen song?
No,
Oh.
I didn't get to participate.
My sister sent me the name of the person who wrote the Dairy Queen song.
There's a Dairy Queen. What's
There-
the Dairy Queen song?
So I said, when I say, will you do your part? Okay. So I said, hey,
Hey,
let's go to Dairy Queen. The people are so friendly and they keep that place so clean. I said, hey,
hey.
let's go to Dairy Queen. Okay, I'm looking somewhere on here. Stick with me, good people. And even you bad people, stick with me. Holy cow, I get an obscene amount of text. Okay, Doug Weisenberger is the one who wrote the Dairy Queen song.
Of course he did.
Doug Weisenberger. Reminds me of Rachel Weisz.
Not like a Smith. Weisenberger.
Yeah. All right. And I will fight Daniel Craig. Did I tell you I figured this out? I will fight. I just got to wait till he's very old. And I got to hire someone to, like, stand in for me.
Well, as he gets old, you get old.
Right. But so, like, I can say, well, I'm old. I need someone to stand in for me.
Oh.
And you're rich, so you don't need someone to stand in. And then I'll win. Either that or we have to tie him up. Or tranquilize him.
Tranquilizer.
Is that
That'd be
legal?
easier.
That would.
That'd be easier.
But he just looks. I think you'd need a lot of tranquilizer.
We could take
Oh yeah.
It'd probably
Taser.
bounce off him.
Oh.
Let's pray.
Okay.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Oh, Jesus, thank you for the good people in our parishes like Becky and all of those who give their gifts and talents so that we can treat every dollar that is given to us with great affection and great respect. We ask that you bless every member of every finance council, wherever they are. We ask that you bless us priests and help us to be humble and to listen and to be brave when we need to be brave and to be malleable when we need to be malleable. We ask for your blessings on all those who carry their church, whether it's a nickel a week or whatever it is. Lord, you see, and we ask that you bless them. And Lord, there's a lot of anger at our church right now, and boy, we earned some of it. But we ask you for peace. We ask for your protection of our churches and our good people. We also ask, Lord, that whatever scandals and financial improprieties exist within the Vatican, drive it out, Lord. Whatever it takes, drive it out. We're tired of it. And in the interim, anything we're worried about right now, we give to you with a ton of trust because you're so good to us. And so we love you very much and we trust you. Amen. Amen. And may Almighty God bless all of you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome.
Woohoo! Isn't she awesome? All right. Hit that button, Karen.